All right, hey people. Today is December 30th, 2023. It's about 5 p.m. here in Indianapolis. My name is Chris Lucas. This is my show, The Protestant View. I'm also known on a few other channels. I don't know what I'm broadcasting under some of these. Um, but anyway, you know, I just wanted to bring up this comment the other day, and let me see if I can pull it up on my screen. So I'm watching this Leighton Flowers video the other day called, just so in case people want to watch the video itself, John MacArthur's Confusing Critique on Reaching the Culture. So this is by Leighton Flowers. His channel's called Soteriology 101 with Leighton Flowers. But anyway, there's this one Calvinist in the comment section. And I feel like this is a really good argument of mine, right? Because and I'll get to that in a second. But this one Calvinist says libertarian free will is a myth. Emotional reaction, Calvinism is more reasonable than others. Calvinists generally argue that God determines everything. Everyone's totally depraved. The only way you don't have a choice of being saved. You're not the one who makes the choice to become saved, regardless of all these Bible passages that say like things like, choose you this day who you will serve and all this other stuff that looks like you have a choice, right? Um but they'd say that it's only like up to God whether to choose that you're saved or not, and and they just look at everyone being totally depraved as you're basically dead, and just like a dead man can't raise himself from the grave, you would have to have God do it. They look at the God the same way. You cannot be saved unless God decides to do it. And I want to show you how bad how much trouble they have with this argument I got. So anyway, like I said, he says libertarian free will is a myth. Emotional reaction, Calvinism is more reasonable than others. And I'm just going to go down here to my comment. Scroll. I said, we get it. You believe in a salvation lottery, right? Because you believe you are no better than anyone else. You believe God picked you based on nothing about you. You just know you got picked. Like that's all. You've got no reason. Like, hey, why was I picked? Oh well, you can't claim like, oh well, I believed God. I was seeking God more. I was trying to find God. Nope. That's not it. That's not where you got picked. Because they will say no. You're totally depraved. You just randomly got picked, right? Um, and so to me, that's what it sounds like to me, because you're saying you're totally depraved and your salvation's only, it's not based on any choice you made. You didn't make a choice to, seek God. That was 100% everything's on God, whether you get saved or not. So now my whole thinking is, show me how this is different than a lottery, right? And that's all I'm asking. And so you can see his reply. He goes, no, I don't. No, I don't believe that it's a salvation lottery. I just leave the judgment to God to decide to save me or not. Whatever judgment he passes would have been just and deserved. So I said, explain to me how it's not a lottery in your view. Why is a person picked? If it's not based on the person at all as to why they get picked, then it's like a salvation lottery. And if it's not, please explain it, right? And so he says, a person is picked by God. Those who God, a person is picked by God. Those who God, not man, those who God judges as deserving will be saved. Whoever doesn't get saved would have deserved it, for they would have been evil, bad anyway. I think the ideal of a lottery is random, arbitrary, and based on luck, whereas God's judgment isn't random, arbitrary. Therefore, it's not a lottery. So you can see circular reasoning, right? Just So anyway, I'm gonna put. Let's see if I can go. You can see a few other people are saying you're right. No Calvinist has ever been able to answer why God elects a person, why God elects person A over person B. They know it's divine lottery, but won't admit it. And I basically tell them, yeah, divine lottery, I like that term. And then I said, so now I respond back to the Calvinist one more time. You're not answering. You are basically making a statement that agrees with what I stated. You're saying deserving is basically a lottery, right? Because it's still like you're not explaining why this person's deserving. You're not you're just saying, well, they're deserving. That must be why they got picked, but you're not explaining it. And I want to know what this is based on, because to me it looks just like a lottery system, right? Um, you're just assuming because they are picked by this divine lottery that they are deserving, yet you cannot come up with a single reason as for why they are picked. You just assert I am wrong without substantiating your logic. And he says to me, I don't know why you keep using lottery everywhere. I guess it's supposed to be derogatory or absurd. I wouldn't call it that. That's my point. These sort of argument this these sort of arguments are similar to the puppet slash robot argument against determinism. The analogy doesn't work because there are some relevant differences that break the analogy. I want to know what those relevant differences are, though. See, I keep asking that, and you guys never say that. And you're just like, oh, you're just being derogatory. And you can see how, like, the same way I'm talking to them, they probably, some of these guys start to get a little bit like Seventh Day Adventist. You ever see like me argue with the Seventh Day Adventist? When I get them to a certain point, I'm like, explain this, and then it's like eventually I start getting a little edgier, right? Because they start to be like, well, you're just being derogatory towards me and everything, and I'm not going to answer someone like that, right? Like they start to try to get you to that point, and it's like, so I can kind of feel the conversation starting to go to that point when he starts saying, "Oh, I guess it's supposed to be derogatory and absurd." No, it's not. It's a good question. I'm trying to figure out what is the relevant difference that breaks the analogy that I just gave you, right? That's it. But you're not going to pull this cult Seventh Day Adventist. I'm ducking your question kind of stuff with me. But anyway, let's see if I can find. Okay, down here. I go, are you ever going to answer my simple question? How is what you believe different from a salvation lottery? If I if I just flat out say Calvinism is slandering God and is demonic, do I have to explain why? See, I have to substantiate that, right? So please explain your assertion that what I say is so far from the truth. If it's that far away, you should have a response. Stop being a little crybaby and just answer the question. See, the reason why I use that kind of term is because I feel like they're about ready to run, right? And I want to make sure they do answer. See, when I do these things to people, it's not like I like there's any hatred, any malice. It's just I've been in these conversations before where it feels like they're trying to evade the answer, right? They're trying to be evasive, and I'm like, and so I'm trying to do something to make him engage the question. That's what I'm resorting to, right? It's not that I'm trying to be mean with these people. Just like Seventh Day Adventists, when I use like harsher language, what I'm doing is I'm trying to generate a response. Like I want you to respond to my question. You're not responding. I want you to respond. So that's the only reason why I'm saying this stuff. And he says, it's easy when you sit there and throw questions around like your position is sound and reasonable. I could be the one asking you some tough questions about your radical position of libertarian free will. I think I have answered enough already. If you aren't satisfied, that's it, Mr. Lottery. LOL. See, this is the kind of stuff. And you can already see how this is just like Seventh Day Adventism and just like other cults I engage with. It's like you're not answering the question. It's a real easy question too, real easy. And yes, I will say Calvinism is cultish, because when you start seeing responses like this, patterns like this over and over again, every time you talk to someone in a cult, it's a cult. And they're they're not being honest logically. So how is it that this guy ever answered? I mean, how like it goes right back up to what he responded to me earlier. Um, when he said that thing about the analogy, he didn't give me an analogy. He didn't give me any reason why that analogy didn't apply. I mean, that was a pretty good like, yeah, he got it down pat. So anyway, I guess that's it, because he never did respond. Yeah, that was it. I'm still looking and making sure. I just want to record this so people would know this is like typical. Every single time I ask a Calvinist this question, they never answer. So I'm just, yeah, that was it. That was all of it. And that's another response I made to something else. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. I'd like to know, any future Calvinists, if they can answer that, tell me why why this analogy isn't wrong, why this is bad. I would really like to know. Oh yeah, right here it is. I want to know the relevant differences that break the analogy. See, that's all I was asking. He never gave it to me. Anyone that thinks he did, please explain to me how he gave me anything that was relevant that breaks that analogy, that Calvinists don't basically believe this is a divine lottery. That's all I want to know. I want to, and if you can't answer that, then allow me to keep calling, saying you believe in a divine lottery, right? Because everyone's totally depraved. No one has free will in your systematic or theology or whatever you want to call it. Your system doesn't say people can have free will, can freely choose. Everyone's totally depraved. It's all up to God. And I don't think that's biblical. I don't think God wants anyone to go to hell. I think he clearly says he loves everyone, wishes everyone would come to salvation, wishes everyone would repent. And I just don't see a God of love behaving the way a Calvinist do. And I actually think they slander God with um, their belief system and what they teach. Because now it's like, well, God, doesn't really love everybody. God might not love you. That might be why you don't feel spiritual. That might be why you don't feel like you're going to heaven. You're just go ahead and enjoy your life here, because you're probably heading to hell. And there's no reason why I should try to persuade you, because if I'm trying to persuade you, I'm wasting my time, because maybe you're just doomed to hell. Because if you're going to believe, you're going to believe. It ain't going to be up to me. It's like it seems like it just kind of undercuts everyone's motivation to spend any time to try to do anything extra to save anyone, right? Because obviously there's nothing you can say. There's no the person's either going to be saved or not. And I believe personally the reason why I attack this system is because this is one of the final straws that actually just really tore up my walk with God. When I was going through this really bad period of trying to figure things out, and because I was trying to come out of all this new age and everything, and I had no judgmental outlook of Christianity whatsoever. I was just looking for someone just to sit at the feet and learn from, right? And I was trying to go to every single church I went to with the most humblest attitude possible, right? And I was fasting all the time, doing everything I could, man, to like keep myself in a spiritual mind. But I felt real lonely, and And it's like, for some reason, like when I heard this Calvinist talk in a church, and I didn't realize it was Calvinism at the time, and he's teaching total depravity and all this other stuff. To me, it sounded like so much like some of the nihilists I used to talk to, the atheists I was hanging out with, and like these other events and things like that I was going to, like raves and things. I go talk to some nihilist or something, and I was like, it's not much different. And it made me feel lonely because I was looking for something of more substance. And I guess when I heard this guy talk evil about babies, like that baby you got. So I'm thinking, here's a couple, they just had a baby, and this pastor's like, that baby you got's just a dirty little sinner. I'm like, who I like, no, I like, I hated that so bad, hearing that come from that guy's mouth. And I'm like, and then it's like, now I understand his mentality. And to me, it's just so sick. It's like, my whole thing is, it's an innocent baby. That's why when someone takes and smacks a baby upside the head, you'd be like, wow, what did it do to deserve it? Right? It's an innocent baby. You don't go, oh, they just smacked a dirty sinner upside his head, so there's no big deal with that. Like, I don't know, like there's just some things that just didn't sit right with me hearing that, and hearing a little baby's a dirty little sinner, and just the way it was put, it just rubbed me the wrong way. And I mean, that was one of the most depressive, lonely states I had, and to hear that from a leader of a church, I snapped. I snapped, and it's like it was like a backsliding, and I just, because I was like, I'm not feeling this in this church, and to me, I was going to other churches and not realizing it, and that's what broke me down, and it's been real hard for me to climb out of that, to be honest. Um, and and I felt like I went through a 1 year walk of my best walk I've had in my entire life, and it was just like, that was just like, it was like this, not just the straw. All it would have took was a straw to probably break my back. It's just like, took a bolt, like smashed, man. And I mean, I just felt done, man. It's just like I felt done at that point. So that's why I don't like this belief system. Now maybe I'm missing something. I'm open to that, but I just want to point out that this is like, I just don't feel a lot of love from this ideal system. It just sounds very cold. You don't know why God chose you. I don't, because you can't say He loved you more. You have no idea why He chose you. Because, I mean, what did you do to deserve love more if you're no better than anything else, right? See, they never answer that question. What did you do to earn more love or more favor from God? No, there was nothing. You just got picked. So how's it not like, you might as well just throw a lottery ball up and pick it. So that's it. I just want to make a short video.